For weeks now, protesters have gathered and marched in response to the death of George Floyd, demanding justice and racial equality. Well, some of those demonstrations have been peaceful. Others have resulted in arrests and property damage. Tonight, Channel 3's Travis Cummings heard from two prominent black leaders who say they are sparking change in other ways. Travis joins us now with more details.
That's right, Cindy. Anthony Byrd and Dennis Clark both come from historic Chattanooga neighborhoods. And while they agree that everyone has their own way of expressing pain, the goal, they say, is to turn theirs into progress.
In the city council chambers every week, Anthony Byrd says it's his goal to pursue positive change.
I can change the hearts of men. I can make sure people do the right thing. I can make sure people show love and compassion. I can just be a listening ear for those who feel like they're not being heard.
The District 8 representatives' advocacy started with an 80s anti-drug group called the Happy Clowns.
And we traveled around the city telling kids to say no to drugs, uplifting communities.
And was followed by a boy band, The New Beginning. He performed with now R&B star Usher Raymond.
Our protest was through music. Our energy was through positivity.
Now at the age of 44, Byrd says his protest is through his work in city government. He points to the success of Bayberry and Overlook Apartments, affordable housing in Patton Towers, job creation, and a new youth and family development center in Avondale. In response to the death of George Floyd, many have marched in the streets of Chattanooga demanding change. Byrd understands why.
I've had issues where I've been pulled over and asked to lay on the ground and I haven't done anything, and I was angry. I wanted to fight. I wanted to hurt someone.
But he says screaming obscenities at police and vandalizing property is not the way to create change.
The way to get there is through love, and you think of all the protests, all the things that came about. Love was the key that brought us together, that allowed us to be able to sit at tables again, across from people that you know that don't like you, you know that don't care about you.
Byrd was the sole vote against an amended budget last week that eliminated $150,000 from the chief of police's budget. He says he wanted more time for citizens to weigh in. Avondale native Dennis Clark wanted that too.
It was to allow more dialogue because people want to be heard, and that's the public, that's democracy.
Clark's desire to change public policy comes from personal experiences.
My brother, who was murdered of gun violence in Chattanooga, and I was like, what are we doing to help young black men get off the streets?
Clark created the Chattanooga Urban Policy Institute, which helps people who were previously incarcerated get back on their feet.
Black Lives Movement, to me, is a public policy movement. We're talking about how do we change systemic racism, just not in the police department, but in the judicial system, in the education system, in the banking system.
His fight, like Byrd's, is not in the streets.
And I think we have a system in place that deals with bad officers, bad public officials, bad public works, whatever. But we have to expand that conversation beyond just the police budget, because not everybody believes in the police. And sometimes I understand how that can be a distraction to the message.
A message they encourage others to carry, even if they choose not to carry a sign.
If you want to support a black business, if you want to make a donation to a black organization that's helping social services in black communities,
we can get better. It's medicine for us. We can come up out of this.
And Byrd and Clark are working with other black faith community leaders to plan a family-friendly rally to encourage voting. We'll pass along those details once we learn more. Reporting in the studio tonight, Travis Cummings, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you.